Hi there. In a world where nothing is certain, that means anything is possible, right? If you want to fulfill your dreams and desires, you are in the right place. You absolutely can have a life of happiness. Everyone deserves an abundance of love, laughter, success, health, and wealth. I'm Tara Chadzakis, and you're listening to the Happy, Inspired, Motivated podcast. The show that brings you meditation, mindset, and motivation. So start by giving yourself permission to be awesome. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hi, and welcome to this episode of Happy, Inspired, Motivated. This week, I was blessed to be asked by a friend of mine if I would help them with some kind of research. So they've been reading a book about finding their why. And it was an exercise in the book that they wanted to do with their team, with the people that worked for them. And just to get some practice, they mentioned that they were looking for somebody to help them. So I said I would do it. I said I would step up and dive into my why in my business and in my life and have a look at the past patterns and behaviors and situations and circumstances that that basically have led me to where I am today. So it was quite a deep and an intensive couple of hours that we spent looking through my past. And, we do this when we're working with clients. We look at all the things that have contributed to who they are today and all the successes and all the failures, all the lessons that they've learned, everything that they've been through that they feel was good or bad, and how it's affected their life and how it's affected the choices that they've made up until today. And, it's not as easy to do it on yourself as it is to do on somebody else, So I was really grateful that my friend gave me the opportunity to do this. So we started off looking at the first memory that I have of something that was an important or pivotal point in my life. And I just thought, maybe you'd like to hear some of my story because, I've never really touched on it. I know I have odd bits here and there about things that I've been through, but I've never openly laid my journey out. And I think it's quite important because there may be some things that you resonate with or some things that you have that's similar, and, you're not alone. There are things that we go through that we think, oh my God, it's just me, but it's not. And, even though I'm a law of attraction coach, I'm a Robbins Madness coach, I have great techniques and tools and strategies to help my clients, it doesn't mean that I'm perfect. I have been through my fair share of ups and downs. I have been through situations where I've felt, less than insignificant, and situations where I've felt absolutely top of the world. Coaches are usually the people who have been through the most or a lot, which is why they are so passionate about coaching, because they don't want people to experience the same things that they did, or they want to be able to help them get out of it. When I'd finished working through my history with my friend, it really opened up my eyes to the fact that I know I'm passionate about what I do. I know that I want to help women unlock their the goddess that they have within them so that they can really step into their highest potential, because that's going to change the world. It's going to change the way that the energy that we have in the world and the way that the world operates. There's a huge masculine energy in the world, especially in business. And there's an imbalance because there are not enough women in business. There are less than 30% of entrepreneurs are female. And that imbalance causes chaos in the world. There has to be complete balance all the time for things to run smoothly. So, it's really important to me for women to unlock their passions, if that is in business or if that is in working for someone else, for them to be able to step into the role that they are passionate about, and so they can live on purpose. And I guess the things that I've been through are why I care more than anyone else that my clients will work with about their success, because they're so important to me. And I want to help them get to a level that they're happy with, so that they're living the life of their dreams, which, a lot of them don't think is possible or don't think they're worthy of. So my first memory was in the school playground, and I was about 7. And it's a really hurtful memory, but it actually, when we'd been through this process, you could see how it tied in throughout different periods of my life. So I was in school, and a new girl came to join our class, and she became really popular. She had raving fans. All the girls around her were like, "Oh, Deborah, she's so amazing," and everything she did or everything she brought into school was fantastic. And I was one of those girls as too. I thought she was pretty phenomenal. So I kind of followed her around too. She was taller than everybody else. She looked older than everyone else, or at least that's how I remember her. Maybe it was just her personality that was so big that that's the impression that I have looking back now. But anyway, one day it was going to be her birthday, and she said she was having a birthday party. And I'm not sure if it was a party at her house or if it was bowling or something like that. And she invited the girls in the class. She said, let's, come to my birthday party. So the morning of the birthday party, I went to school. I had my gift for her in my bag, and I was really excited. My parents knew that I was going to this party after school and I'd be back later. And it was all, exciting because it was a night out with all the girls in the class. And when we got to the end of the school day and the bell rang and we got to the school gate and we were all ready to go to Deborah's party, she looked at me and she said, you weren't invited. There's no space for you to come in the car to go wherever they were going. I can't remember. And I just sort of looked at her, and I felt so small. I felt so embarrassed. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah. My misunderstanding type thing. And I was 7 at the time. So obviously, I was devastated. And I was crying inside. But, I was trying to be brave. I didn't cry in front of her. I didn't make a scene. But, some of the girls were laughing when I walked off. And it really, really hurt me. It made me feel like, obviously I wasn't part of the in crowd. I wasn't popular. People were laughing at me. I felt embarrassed. I felt really humiliated. I felt stupid that I'd actually thought that I was invited. And it brought up lots of different emotions. And talking about them, as I said before, the body is so, or the mind is so powerful that just thinking about a memory like that floods your body with these emotions, and you can feel how you felt on that day all those years ago. And it was really a pivotal point in my life, because I didn't have a lot of self-confidence anyway about, being I wasn't a popular kid in school. And this just reinforced the fact that I wasn't part of the in crowd. And it upset me. And I took that with me throughout my life. Many other times when situations arose for friendship circles, I automatically presumed that they weren't really friends with me, or that they were hanging out with me just as a joke or for fun, that they didn't really want to be my friends. And I carried that through relationships, friendships, people that I was with, that I worked with. It raised its head a lot while I was growing up and into my adulthood. It wasn't something that I thought about regularly, but those limiting beliefs were already in there, and they were so cemented because I had reinforced them every time I was in a similar situation. If somebody was having a party or something, I wouldn't expect to be invited. And every time that happened, for example, I reinforced this neural pathway in my mind that, I was not popular. I didn't fit in. I didn't have true friendships. I wasn't worthy of that kind of love and friendship and community. So, I had these neural pathways that were very, very strongly formed. And as I said, any situation that came up throughout my life automatically reverted back to that feeling and that limiting belief that was in my head. And you could see that through the friendships that I made as I was growing up. So the majority of the friends that I made were men. I very rarely formed friendships with women. I didn't get on with, not that I didn't get on with women, but I would choose to have friendships with men rather than women. I want to say friendships, I mean, as friends, nothing romantic in any of these relationships. But I didn't feel comfortable being around women. I thought they were bitchy. I thought they were cliquey, and I didn't want to be a part of that community, that environment. So it was always easier for me to find men friends because they were much more straightforward, like me. They said what they thought. They didn't fancy things up. If they didn't like something, they said it. And I was quite a tomboy anyway, because I was always, tree climbing or bike riding, or I joined Venture Scouts when I was 15, and that involved a lot of hiking and camping. And so I did a lot of things that weren't very girly. I didn't wear a lot of makeup. I wasn't really into high-heeled shoes and skirts and dresses. I don't think my mum got me in a dress until, well, I think she put me in a dress every Christmas because I had to wear it. I hated it. But I didn't wear dresses. I was always in jeans or shorts or something like that. I just wasn't girly. And maybe that was because of what had happened. I'd switched so much from, oh my God, these girls, I don't want to be part of a girl friendship group again because of what happened. So that could have been how that played out and manifested in my life. So it became self-perpetuating. The more that I was reinforced this belief about girls, the less I hung around with them. So the less I got to know them, and the more I believed it again. So it became a recurring pattern, a recurring theme in my life. And I found it very hard to find girls to be friends with. I made some friends with some women along the way, but those friendships were few and far between. There weren't many women that I was friends with that I trusted, that I told my secrets to, that I hung out with, that I chatted to. It was usually men or my family. And I often say, because I spent so much of my life not hanging around with women, I think the universe sent me 3 daughters for that reason. I always say that because, the universe gave me 3 girls so that I had to form female friendships, because obviously it was important and I'd refused to do it up until that point. So I was given 3 daughters so that I would always have a loving, supportive friendship through my daughters with women who were phenomenal. And they were always going to be there for me and to prove to me that, female friendships and female bonding and love, although they're my daughters, but, still, this is something that can happen, that can be part of your journey. And ironically, looking back, maybe the relationships that I got into were also to do with how I felt about myself, stemming back from that one period in my life, that one moment, or that one experience that kind of reinforced the things that I was already feeling about myself. I was in 2 major relationships in my life that both of them were emotionally abusive. So they're not physically abusive. So there were no physical scars, but internally, my first real relationship was at 15, and he used to make fun of me all the time and say how stupid I was and how much cleverer than me he was. And I believed him. And I guess that was also stemming from the way that I had, or the thoughts that I had created in my mind, the beliefs about myself, not being worthy, not being good enough. And then after that relationship, I met my husband at 19. And that was even more of the same kind of abuse, the same kind of control. And it took me a while to actually acknowledge that that's what was happening, because, I don't know if you ever watched The Maid, which is on Netflix. It's a new TV series. And, in that show, she leaves her husband with her child. And when she goes to see the social worker, the woman asks her if she was abused. And she laughs. She's like, no, I wasn't. He never touched me. And the woman said, well, that doesn't mean you haven't been abused. And she wanted to send her to a domestic violence safe house. And she said, I'd rather give that place to somebody who needs it, who deserves it, who's had to live through some sort of abusive or violence and abuse. And she refused to accept that she had. And I was the same. My husband used to talk down to me. He used to say that I had, like, my ideas were stupid. I was foolish. He used to make fun of me. Everyone thought he was amazing and how funny he was, especially when we were out. And, if I said something and he'd laugh about it or tear me down about how ridiculous what I'd said was. And everyone was like, oh, he's so humorous, aren't you lucky? And I actually thought, yeah, I probably was, because that's what I thought. I thought he was supportive of me. I thought he loved me. And, I didn't realize that was, part of the abusive, controlling nature, to belittle me, to make me feel as though I wasn't capable of making informed decisions, of making choices that actually were solid and would lead to something important, anything like, and like he would keep, it was financially abusive. He made me believe that my choices or my perception of things was wrong. I think it's called gaslighting, when they make you believe that you're paranoid for thinking things. So, I went through all of these things, and it took me a while to acknowledge that that's what was happening. And then, even afterwards, it's taken me a long time to actually talk about it, because I felt embarrassed that it happened, I guess, but also I didn't want to be the person saying, hey, look at me, I have been through abuse. I was, domestically abused, because I also didn't want him to be aware of what I was saying, because I was always worried that he was going to come back to me and start laughing at me and saying, have you heard yourself? What are you saying about me? It's not true. You're being ridiculous, which is exactly the kind of situation that somebody who's abusive would do. So I found it very difficult to open up and talk about it. And I'm still finding it quite hard to speak my truth. But I think it's really important that I do, because, I've noticed that a lot of the women that I work with, even though they don't come to me for coaching through these kind of situations, I've had clients that come to me for, they want to achieve the clients that come to me want to achieve their dreams. They want to step into their highest potential and be the best version of themselves, be that through their own business or their promotion, or being financially abundant and independent. So, they work on all of these things. These are all their goals and their dreams, and we work on getting them to achieve those dreams through manifestation, law of attraction, and all the different elements that we work with together. But I've noticed that my clients all seem to, or most of them, in fact, no, all of them, have had some sort of either domestic violence abuse, domestic abuse, as you call it, or there's some sort of trauma. There's some sort of trauma that hasn't healed. That's most probably why they were attracted to me, why they wanted to work with me and not another coach. Because there are lots of coaches out there. We're all different. We all have different expertise. As I say, I work with law of attraction. I work on manifesting, neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to rewire itself, retrain itself. I look at body energetics and positive mind scripts. And now there may be another coach who does maybe not all of those elements, but some parts of those with other things involved. And we all want the same benefits for our clients. We all want their success. But the reason that some clients would choose me and some others would choose another coach is a connection that they have, or it's some sort of shared bond. And I think even though I haven't ever publicly spoken about my journey and my past, because as I say, sometimes I'm worried about putting this story out there and being open about it and letting people hear what I have to say, because I'm still scarred by the, being laughed at and being embarrassed and shamed and all of these feelings. because, these kind of scars are quite deep and they're invisible, but they're still there. And I know that, they don't affect me as they used to do, but they do still come up because it's always a work in progress. But I think these women that work with me, they maybe from the way I speak, from my posts, from my email newsletters, from what they see of me, they feel that connection. They understand that there's something within me that can help them better than another coach. And I think it's important, like I said, to share my story so that that, whatever you're going through, whether you're going through some sort of domestic abuse or whether you have an unhealed trauma from your past that's still with you today when you're trying to move forward and subconsciously that it's there, you're not the only one. We all have something, and there is somebody out there that can help you to get past this so that you can step into your true dream life, because it's there. It's just waiting for you to grab it. And quite often, the things that are going through our head are what are holding us back. And we don't need to hold on to those anymore, because they're like, holding on to those thoughts, they're just destroying our life and our happiness, not the person who created that limiting belief or that feeling of unworthiness or that feeling of not deserving good and love and joy and happiness in their life. So, look for someone that can help you. It could be me, it could be somebody else, but there is somebody out there to help you and to help you move forward. And, when you get to the other side, when you unlock the inner goddess that you have within you, that's just waiting, that's the creator of your dreams. When you unlock her, you're going to have such an impact on the world, because your vibrational energy is going to raise. The work that you put out is going to be at a different level. Your success is going to be on a different level. And that's going to impact people around the world, directly and indirectly. And, as I said, like in the balance of the energies in the world, the masculine energy that is the dominant one needs to be balanced by the feminine energy. And a lot of us women, especially those who have been through something, find it very difficult to put ourselves out there, to be in the limelight and to shine our light. But we need to do that more often. We need to create this balance, put an end to the chaos of imbalance in this world. And you could be the perfect person to do that. What you have, the gifts you have, the skills you have, the love, what you have that you haven't been showing up and giving to people and giving to the world, needs to be in the world, because without it, you're doing a disservice to the other people that need your help, which is why I'm opening up with my story here and sharing the inner pain and the inner shame that has come from certain experiences in my life. There's lots of beauty in my life. I love my life so much now. It's been nearly 9 years since I left my husband, and I spent 9 wonderful years raising my daughters on my own, and they are absolutely phenomenal. And I have really supportive parents that love me so much and would do anything for me. But this isn't about them and the support that they give me. It's about the journey that I had to take myself, because, no matter who's around you, you have to do the inner work yourself. And family, friends, your children, your coach, your colleagues, whoever you're working with to get through the pain that you have inside you. They're great to have as a support network, but you, at the end of the day, the work is down to you. You have to do the inner work inside. You have to want to see the change and be a part of that. And facilitate. It can be facilitated by your coach, for example, but at the end of the day, the work still comes down to you. The homework comes down to you. The work because your coach is with you for, one session a week, for example, the rest of the time it's down to you. The rest of the 6 days and however many hours, you're alone with your thoughts, and you have to be the one that's putting the energy and the time into creating a different reality and going forward and opening it up and allowing yourself to be this wonderful, phenomenal, creative person filled with love and happiness that you are. And when you're in that space, that's when the abundance comes, and that's when the financial success comes, and the accolades come, whether you want them or not. And it's not necessarily about awards. It's about people wanting to work with you, people wanting to be around you because they just love the energy that you have. And as I said, the more you give, the more you receive. And you have to be in that energy, and you have to be at that point in your life that you're ready for that. So I hope my story has helped somebody today. I hope that it's shown you that no matter who we are or where we are on our journey, we all have something that has held us back before. It's taken me, I'm 50 years old. It's taken me till 50 to get over myself and move forward. I'm hoping that the people that I work with in the future don't wait as long as me. I hope that they seek out the help from me or from somebody else way, way sooner than I have, because, it's taken me a while to get to this point. And yeah, I do wish I'd done it sooner, but I've done it now, and I'm on my journey, and I'm helping other people, which is great. So if you know somebody who is also going through something, a hard time, that would love to hear this story for inspiration, for motivation, that's what my whole show's about, happy, inspired, motivated. Please, please, please share this episode with them and let them understand that they're not alone, that there are others out there, that there are so many people out there, and that there are people that want to help them too. So I'm sending you lots of love. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I shall speak to you again soon. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Happy, Inspired, Motivated podcast. I'll be back next week bringing more meditation, mindset, and motivation for your happy and successful life. To find out more about our community, go to tarachatzakis.com/happy, inspired, motivated.